So here I was, I'm at the shop, I've been working on that gauge. It came in, it's a little piece that goes in line with the radiator hose. That thing, I don't really like it. I'm not a fan. I had it installed. I didn't really show the actual install, but I didn't like it at all. So I'm going to take a mulligan on that thing. Not really going to go with that, I don't think. I probably will try to figure out the gauge somewhere to install it. You can hear the heaters running. I've been kind of tinkering with it. Yeah, so I went back to just a regular hose. The gauge, I'll have to figure out a gauge pod or somewhere in here, but for now I can run a wire or something and hook that thing up. I've got the fan all tore out from underneath the dash here. The ECU, I think I figured out which one it takes. I've got that thing ordered. I've got another rental. It's got a line froze and busted. They just messaged me. So this week I'm going to be dealing with rentals probably. This thing, I did actually find a vacuum. I think there's a vacuum loose. There looks like a bolt on the intake that was missing. And I think that goes all the way into the intake. So I do think that will be something that might be relevant to it running as bad. It may not be. I don't know just yet. So I don't want to get too far into it thinking that it's something that it's not. So I'm just going to kind of stop where I'm at on this car, at least till the ECU gets here. So it'll be a few days, I think, before that thing gets here. Christmas is tomorrow, so that's something that I've got that going on. And then, like I say, it's 4 degrees out and pipes are freezing and busting. And so the city, their line froze. Then I had a rental that froze yesterday. So today's been an off day. I'm just tinkering with this thing a little bit, going through some of the things that I do have, checking the wiring. Everything looks good in the wiring as far as like maybe any issues. I probably do want to figure out a gauge, or not a gauge, but like maybe a gauge pillar pod or a gauge cluster thing for the dash. I don't know if I have the dash piece. I don't know if it ever was even in the car. This isn't a bad little car. I think it would be fun to drift it. I don't know that I'm going to keep it and continue to drift. I really don't know about this car. I think I'm going to sell it. I'd like to sell it, but you know, this market is so crazy with the 240s. I don't really know what to ask. I don't know what the going rate is on 240s. This thing's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's got some issues. I still got to figure out why the windows won't roll down. This is a hardtop car, so it doesn't have a sunroof. I don't know if that's more or less. You know, I know it's not. I know they're more in demand with, you know, not having a sunroof. I know the sunroof are worth less. I was looking at a S13 coupe car, and if I had to do it over again, I would probably have done that, my S13 as a coupe car instead of a hatch. Hindsight's 2020, but we've already started on it. This thing, I can't make myself go all in on it because I have that still, and I have the other IS300, and I have my turbo IS300. I think this thing is just, once I get it finished up, I'll probably just push it on out and try to sell it, finish up my turbo IS300, get that tuned. This IS300 is just stock automatic. It won't take just a little bit, I think, maybe to fix that, get it straight. I could use it as a daily. My BMW, I need to do the clutch on it. My son and I think we've actually decided we're going to just do his IS300 about like the silver IS300, just some cheap parts, make it turbo. I say cheap parts, but it's cheap turbo. Everything else is top dollar. 1000cc injectors and that kind of thing. So we'll probably just do it just like the silver one. Once we get that squared away, he's going to jump in on the S13 with helping me buy the parts to finish that. So we can get some name brand parts and actually make that a competition level car with a 1JZ in it for now. We can always, I do have a 2J at the machine shop getting worked on. We could always back up and punt, put that 2J in there. I've been looking at some of the CD 009 or CDOOA, whichever, whatever, the kits to install those. Some of those aren't as high as I was thinking. It's the clutch, it costs so much. So some of those kits are pretty reasonably priced now. Collins used to be the only one that made those. Now there's different brands that make those things. So we'll probably go that route. There's one that replaces like like you cut the bell housing off, and that piece right there, I guess it would be the pump in an automatic. You unbolt that, move that out. Then that assembly you get from one of these companies, it's got a seal. You install that, and you use the T56 throwout bearing, and then they send you can get a flywheel that they offer. And then once you get that flywheel, it's not one of the big bell style flywheels like the Collins has, like the big long, it's a flywheel that starts back here and it comes way out like some kind of bell, and it adapts it all crazy distance or whatever. You actually use the bell housing off of the automatic, like a IS300, an automatic GS300. The A340E is the automatic transmissions, and there's another one too, like a J1 bell housing, J2 or J3. The automatic bell housings will unbolt, and you can actually hook those up to that. And when you do that, you need to get their flywheel. You can take the CD009 or whichever one. I think it's CD009 clutch kit. So then you can buy that clutch kit, and you will always just be able to buy that clutch kit. So it's not relevant. Whatever you do outside of that doesn't matter, as long as you have that set up. You tear that transmission up, you still have all those parts. Or if you burn the clutch out, you can always just buy another CD009 clutch. You don't have to buy anything, crazy. I think the pilot bearing is a specific pilot bearing, but that comes with that flywheel if you get the flywheel. So that's something we're looking at for the S13. That will allow us to get the 1J mated up to a transmission, and we'll have to figure out what shifter, because I don't really know what shifter to use after that. And then I have all the wiring harness. I got to finish the interior, get it ready. Got to figure out a dash. Once I figure out a dash, we're gonna have to do the windshield. So there's a long way to go on that car. So, this one, this particular 240, it's something that just needs to be finished up and sent on its way, I think. And I'm pretty close, I believe. Once I get the bugs, and it can't be but just a mixture of the injectors, the ECU, and the mass airflow. It's got to be somewhere in there as far as it running, and maybe that vacuum. But then I had to figure out the temperature sensor, and I don't know what that entails. I do have the MK4 Supra engine coolant temperature sensor. The one that I don't have, I have all the other ones, and the green plug plugged in, it's in the car. And then there was another sensor, and there was only 2 versions of it. I got one that had in stock. It's not the right one, so evidently, hopefully, the one coming is the correct one, and I can figure out where it actually goes, and that gets me, dialed in. So that way, because I don't have a sensor to my gauge in here, so I have to get that gauge figured out. But I'm not going to use that little cheap thing for this car. I am going to try to. I will use the gauge. I could probably, if I can figure out where to actually hook it up, I may go ahead and run that. But that would be the only thing I run. I don't want to run all that other silly stuff. It's just cheap. I don't like it at all. It'll leak. I'm just not a fan. So I'm going to run just regular hoses on it. I have to run it, get it running right, check for leaks. It's freezing cold, so I can't have the doors open right now. It's 4 degrees or something, so I'm going to have to step back, take a little bit of a break on this one. But I'm going to be working on rentals, so I'll take you on that. You can see the rentals, see what we're doing there. I hate to get away from some of this stuff because I got so much to do right here, and I can see kind of an end to this and an end to the automatic IS300, getting those turned around pretty quick. But at the same time, I got to get the rentals turned around where I have, get those people back in their houses. So I have one tonight that's frozen busted, and it being Christmas tomorrow, I'm not gonna go do it, so they're gonna stay somewhere else tomorrow. But come Monday, I've got to get up and get going and try to get the water on these places, get the lines fixed and all that, get them back up to where they can function and get some water. So yeah, there's a lot to do. There's not enough of me. And this is the real world of me. I'm not trying to, just laugh and giggle and carry on with stuff that's just silly, or, I like to have a good time like anybody else, but shoot, having 20-something rentals and at least that many projects, cars, it's kind of, and I'm the only one that's working. I had a working employee the other day, and he didn't do exactly what I said. He cost me material, cost me money, and I still have to go back and redo what he done. So it's kind of frustrating. So I do the best I can with what I got. These videos are dragging on with the 240 and all that, and it's cold, it's rainy outside, and I'm ready for some warm weather already. I've already got the bug of wanting to go drift and get outside this shop. So we might make a week of just back and forth between the shop and working on these rentals. It's the rental that the line's busted. It's PVC pipe. Should be a pretty easy fix, I hope, as long as it's not a bunch of lines are really, really hard to get to. It might be okay on that one, and there's 2 more that are frozen. Hopefully when they thaw out they're not busted. I don't know that that's going to be the case, but I know one's PVC and I think the other one is too. It's a trailer, and it's that gray trailer pipe, and that stuff always freezes and busts. So let's hope it's not going to do that. Yeah, so we'll try to get that done, and I would like to finish the IS300 this week, and I would like to get this one finished. I want to say finished because by the time the ECU comes in, I can have this car running, driving. I think Wednesday's when the last sensor comes in, it's ordered. But even though if that doesn't get me a gauge, I can still run it. I just won't know the temperature of the car. I just have to keep the fans running, make sure I got the fans working correctly. But yeah, I'd like to finish this car in the IS300 this week, and it just needs plugs and wires. I think we'll get away with that. Maybe I'm waiting on a PCV valve for this. Maybe a tune-up on that one, plugs, wires, that kind of thing. And we should be good to go after that. We should be all right on making headway on this, because I want to do my BMW, but that's going to be a big deal. I don't think I'll have time to do that this week. We could do my son's car. I think I could. What I'm thinking about doing is holding the motor up with like the beam across the top, and it like sits on the struts, hold the engine up and drop the cross member out from under it. If I do that, I can drop the oil pan, I can tap the hole for the turbo, clean all that up, reseal the oil pan, get it back on, and so if I do that, that makes where all I gotta do is run the supply line, and that's gonna be easy. That just taps into the back of the sensor, the oil pressure switch. So I just tee that into there, or the actual switch, you undo it and then put your fitting in and put the switch back on there. I can do that, run the line across, and besides that, change the injectors, put the turbo and manifold and stuff on, run the intercooler. That's pretty much where that'll be. That won't take a real long time. I could probably do that in a day or 2. Let's say 2 tops. I think I could do that, as long as I can just drop the cross member out from under the car, or like get it on the lift and hold the motor up and drop the cross member. Then I can drop the pan, tap that, clean all the mess up, reseal the pan, put it back on. Everything else is just on the top. May have to weld in a fitting on the intake air temperature sensor, but my son can get that done at work. I can drill the hole for that. Yeah, I mean, he's off all week, so my son's off all week. If I can take advantage of making him help me and working on that, I could probably get some of this stuff done. So that's the goal this coming week after Christmas. But again, I got to start on the rentals first thing. I've got to get the water leaks fixed. I have to get the lines unfroze, and I have to get some of the AC unit stuff figured out. So yeah, that's where we're starting. So I appreciate everybody for watching the videos and bearing with me on this slow going 240 swap. I know it's kind of painstaking and slow, and it's, you know, not a lot of drifting or any of that kind of, not any drifting, but none of that kind of stuff. But I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me, the ones that are still watching at this point. Guys, thanks for everything. Thanks for continuing to watch the videos. I'm sorry they're getting kind of excessively boring, and I know there's some boring ones we do. But this year is gonna, I think we're gonna do a little bit bigger stuff this year. We're gonna have to travel, so we're not gonna be as easily accessible to, you know, the track we had. So we're gonna have to make some adjustments this year. We're gonna have to really get going, and we're gonna have to really make some productivity on some of this stuff and get it, you know, dialed in a little better. So hang in there with us, and this year we'll try to do better with the videos. We'll try to get more entertaining. May try to bring in, you know, maybe a different film guy so I can drive some, maybe some of that on video. Try to rig up the cameras to where I can drive and film too. So I enjoy driving. I'm not as good as my son. I haven't driven near as much, but I do enjoy it. But guys, I appreciate everybody that's stuck in there with us, that's put up with the slow going videos. I hope you guys, whoever is watching, I hope somebody's learned something this year. I hope that we've motivated somebody to drift or to work on their own stuff. And I hope some of the stuff we've done is inspired or educated or even entertained. Whatever it's supposed to do is what I hope it does, all that. I want you guys to have a Merry Christmas. And I want to thank every single one of you that watches our videos, that will watch our videos or continue to watch our videos. Merry Christmas to every single one of you, and thank every single one of you for continuing to watch and be involved. And you know, like, subscribe, share, anybody that contributes to any of that, thank you. If any of it, it doesn't matter. If you somehow, some way contributed to, you know, the numbers changing for us, you know, moving forward in what we do, thank you. I want to thank every one of you. So enough of that mess. Yeah, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, smash the little bell. You hit the little bell, that lets you know we're having some new videos come out or whatever. Yeah, stay tuned. There's a lot more coming. We're coming up on the end of this year. Still going to be some slow times that, you know, coming right after the first year. We're still going to be trying to get some of these cars turned. But come springtime and the tracks start opening back up and really get moving, I hate the cold. Just so you know, I hate the cold. When the tracks get opened back up, or we start settled in, get a car, you know, ready to rip, we'll start hitting these tracks, and you guys will see us on the road. That's our goal. We're planning on doing some traveling, hitting some tracks, losing a lot of sleep on some of it, getting from where we're at to where you guys are. So we'll see you guys on the road. Thanks, guys. All right, here we go.
I'm feeling high.